The Gans 356 is one of the most hyped 3x3s in recent times. Let's take a look and find out if it's actually worth it. The Gans 356 has a fairly unique design. It still uses the octopus core that Gans is known for, which by the way, still sucks. And they've tried a couple new things with the pieces. The corners and edges both have screws inside of them that you can tension, and I'm not sure if the edges actually do anything or not, but I've heard a lot about tensioning the corners to get better performance from this cube. Looking at the outside of the cube, you'll notice the pieces are shaped a bit oddly. The centers and edges are very round, and the corners are very sharp. This is to prevent corner twists, and in the 500 solves I've done or so, I haven't really gotten any corner twists, so it seems to be pretty effective. Corner cutting is ridiculous. It cuts over 45 for normal cuts and almost line to line for reverse cuts. But even with this crazy corner cutting, the performance is still a huge hit or miss. Out of the box, this cube could cut just like it does right now, but it locked up all the time. I couldn't stand it at all, and ultimately that's what prevented me from using it a bunch. Then people told me about loosening the corners, and for a while, I thought this was much better, and then I ran into a couple problems. If you loosen the corners too much, the corners will raise out of the cube and make the pieces uneven, which is quite annoying at times. And then trying to get all the corners on the right tension to where they wouldn't pop out and the cube would perform well was really hard to find that sweet spot. And I never really found it. And in the process of all that tensioning, I managed to strip some of the corners, and now they just loosen themselves all the time while I'm solving, and the cube feels uneven. The feel is pretty unique. Not many cubes have something that feels like this. It's very smooth, but when you corner cut, it's like the pieces clap together or hit really hard. It's not really a bad thing, it's just kind of bizarre and gives it like a slight crunchy feeling. Gans has done a great job in designing a cube that just doesn't pop. Even when I try and force this cube to pop, it just doesn't want to do it, so there's almost no chance you're going to pop this thing during a solve. I've played with it on both loose and tight tensions, and I never had an issue with popping. I'm briefly going to go over what I've done to this cube because a lot of people seem to be really interested in what people do to set up cubes for reviews. Out of the box, I did about 100 solves to break it in slightly, and then I put Traxxas 50K on the pieces and played with the core and corner tensions a bit. I personally find the octopus core incredibly difficult to tension, and I really wish Gans would just stop using it. So I've decided to change how my conclusions are going to work. I'm in a very blessed position where I get the chance to try out almost every new cube that comes out, and I think part of me has forgotten that everyone else has to buy each of these cubes. So me saying, oh, this cube is nice, is easily swayed by the fact that I don't have to pay for it. So from now on, I'll be looking at this from the perspective of, would I buy this cube if I had to go and buy it? And honestly, for the Gans, I wouldn't spend my money on it. It can be a great cube, but the quality is so hit or miss with it, and I don't really think it's worth the hassle. I know many people have what they think is the best Gans in the world, and even Felix likes it. But for $22, I don't think it's worth the headache you will potentially have to deal with, and I think there's many other cubes out there that are half the price and equally as good as this cube. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.